Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Come right on in. It's Lady T. It's Friday night, and I thought it a great night for us to discuss some of the news that has been coming out about Nolan Wells. So I wanted to make sure that I covered that. Come on in. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you are able to join me today. Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I just want to make sure I can find all of my little tools that I'll need to make sure that we're able to have our discussion without any problem. Hello, hello, hello. I think that says Human 45 said hi, hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I wanted to jump right in. Hello from Connecticut. Hello, welcome, everyone. I wanted to get into this story with Nolan Wells, and I wanted to make sure I could do everything that I needed to do. I may have to make someone a moderator if we see any foolishness going on, and we're going to jump right in to what's going on. I'm Lady TrenettWilson. Welcome to Royal Black and Elite. I'm so glad that all of you could join me today. I wanted to come before you today because there's some news TMZ just put out regarding the Nolan Wells situation. Now, we know this young man passed away just this past week. No, there hasn't been any no one suspected. We don't even know what's going on with the autopsy. But I did want to address something that TMZ just brought out with an interview they did with about a viral video that was out. Now, this viral video depicted some people getting into it, and a lot of people thought this was Nolan Wells getting into it with someone there on the beach. What the witnesses say, and in particular, the witness who was the person who videotaped this incident, he said that it wasn't him. So he said that this viral video that's showing him getting into it with someone else was a mixed race boy, but it wasn't Nolan. So this is what the young man is telling TMZ, who actually recorded the video. Now, who were these young men who got into it? We don't know. He says he doesn't know. This story is the most I don't know in this story I've ever heard in my life. Everybody was there. The place was packed. Everybody out having a good time on the beach, but don't nobody know anything. No one knows who he was fighting. No one knows who, if he was fighting at all. No one knows if he rode with someone else. So there are a lot of unanswered questions. Now we know this area is very well known for its racial tension. So is this a racial thing? I don't know. All I know is that this young man grew up in a predominantly white community and he was used to being around predominantly white people. Now, there are people who grow up like that. I was sharing with you in my upbringing, that was who I was predominantly raised around. But my mother always in really filled us with Black history, being proud of who we were as people. And so she made sure that we understood that, yeah, we may be living over here because we're able to or for opportunities, but be real clear that there is a distinction between us. So all that, sleeping at each other's house and hanging out all the time, and we brothers and sisters, we would like that to happen. But we have had too many cases, one after the other, that is showing that there is some reason for some distrust to be there. And just common sense to be there. So what do we know? We know that he was there. The young lady said that he told her that he was leaving with his friends. Now, his friends, who his best friend, Javon Williams, has come out. He also talked to TMZ, and he said that the people who are trying to make this racial are mistaken, that this is not anything to do with race. Well, how do we know it's not? How do we know that, nothing happened on that boat? Or did he fall off the boat? Some say that he was a very strong swimmer. So if he fell off the boat, and the boat was still moving. When the boys on the boat saw him swimming toward the boat to catch up with the boat, Why didn't they stop the boat? So how did it end that he wasn't on the boat? That's the question that we have. Are there cameras on that island? Were there cameras that showed where he was at every moment of that time? And they want you to quickly say this is not about this or this is not about that. But if we recall, y'all, let's go back. We've had more than one case. Put it down below if you all remember this. There was a young lady, I think her last name was Hornsby, and she went to a sleepover of people of different hues, and she also ended up not alive at the end of the night. Nobody know nothing, just like in this case, no one saw anything. All they know is at the end of the night, she was at the bottom of the pool or on the side of the pool, face down, and she was not with us anymore. Another black person that surrounded herself with a different race of an inner circle, and she ended up not being alive. I am not saying that you can't trust other races of people. There, we have some people in our own families we probably can't trust. But what I'm saying is, we're starting to see these cases. This is not 1962. This is not 1938. This is 2026, and we are repeatedly hearing these stories over and over again. So this is the reason the community stands up and says, "What is going on with this situation?" Now, what is this young man saying? Here you have, these are on the beach. My question is, if that wasn't him, then where was he when this altercation was taking place? Was his friends there with him? Was there a fight? Who is this boy? Because if it wasn't him, it seemed like it'd be pretty easy to me to just go ask the person who was in the altercation, was it him? So everybody is acting very much so like they don't know what's going on, how the situation unfolded, and they don't know where the boy is, how the boy ended up unalive on the side of the beach. That nobody knows anything. So that was one viral video that went viral, something that was out there online that now they're pushing back and saying, no, that's not true. So that was one thing. Number two, his mother came out when I initially, and I've been slow to report on this story because, we do culture, we do news here as well, but I want to know our facts. And I'm not one who just want to pull on emotion. I want to know what's really going on. So it was reported that his mother identified the body, her son's body. You all, it came out. His mother said she did not identify his body. So what? So his mother did not identify his body. In fact, it has been very difficult, the family says, working with the authorities there. And that is why they brought on Ben Crump and all of them, because they're having issues with getting answers. Are any of us surprised? Are any of us surprised? I don't think any of us are surprised by the lack of information that is going forth here. So that was number two. So number one, they said it was not an altercation, or I mean, there was an altercation, but it wasn't him that was in the altercation. Number two, that the mother said she did not identify the body. So that was the number two thing. So many holes in these stories. Another thing that no one's real clear on is, why was it so hard for the family to get the phone from the young men? Why did they have his phone? Can anybody put that down below? Tell me, why did they have his phone? So that was another question that surrounds this situation. What young man gonna lose his phone? Most young men always have their phone. So why is his phone missing? And why is it always in these types of situations and stories? There's always a bunch of people that don't look like each other, um, saying something, and there's always a girl involved, and there's always guys involved, and one of us end up gone, and nobody knows what happened. I think we need to continue to ask these questions. You can't tell me I'm not seeing what I'm seeing, and it's okay for me to ask questions. If nothing happened, then that will be revealed in this. I'm very curious about the autopsy. There was supposed to be some of the preliminary autopsy coming out today. They did take the body and did an independent autopsy separate from what they did there in Mississippi. But I can tell you right now, if they had his body first, the mother said she did not identify the body. Then, who do you wish had no care? Um, I don't know that if they didn't, she didn't identify the body, then how do we know that the body wasn't tampered with? Something didn't happen to the body before it got to the family. So these are some of the questions that are going on. Now, you can't say, oh, trust these people, it's goodwill. They wouldn't be lying. Listen, all lies will be told. They had the phone because he had to walk the plank. Okay, I don't quite know what that means, but if they had the phone, why did they have the phone? Another thing that came out during this investigation, what we're doing is we're going over the news that just came out on TMZ. We talked about what the mother said, and now we're talking about they said that the boys who he was on the boat with had the phone. And so when the parents, they had to go more than once to try to get the phone from these young men. And when they finally got the phone, there were messages erased. Now, how did they know messages were erased? Allegedly, I'm not clear. Maybe he had sent messages to them and they erased it on their side. But you do know that all you have to do is go to the phone company and get all the messages. So it means they threw. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. I thank you for clearing that up. SONIA, thank you so much for clearing that up. I would hate to think that was the case, but if that was the case, then they should have some evidence on this phone. Now, one of the boys' mother has come out and she says she is a judge and that she did delete all of her social media. She said she did this because they have been getting threats. She has six other children, or they have six children total, and she didn't want her family to be threatened and lives to be in danger. So she took away her social media. Now I don't know, you know, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Tell me down below. Would you all get rid of your social media? If the boys have nothing to hide, I mean, why do they have a phone? Why you can't answer where the young man who was the last person to see him? We've yet to find that out. Who was the last person to see him? Now I see a lot of people within the culture, and they've been talking about, well, how can this young man feel this comfortable around these people? Again, if you grew up in a situation where that was who you were normally with, then you may feel comfortable in those situations. You may feel comfortable around people who don't look like you. And if that's how you grew up, perhaps that's how he felt. So I do believe he felt comfortable with these people. He felt comfortable enough with getting on the boat with him. But what I'm sure he never ever realized is that that danger was ever lurking. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not saying anyone did anything. I was not there. I am just trying to reveal some of the stories and some of the things that are coming out within the investigation. I know there's going to be way more that's going to come out. But let's look at the history of not only him. He's not been the only one. Just recent, not some years ago. Put it down below if you remember. There was this young boy. I believe his name was Kendrick, and he was rolled up in some kind of mat on a school campus in a gym, and he too was surrounded by nothing but people who didn't look like him. The story in the end was allegedly no one knows what happened, and he was just wrapped up by himself in this mat in the gym, surrounded by people who didn't look like him. Meanwhile, one of the boys was the sheriff's son. So it was a lot of shady business going on around that situation. And we still don't know to this day what happened to this young man. And his family, who was doing investigations and who was trying to get to the truth about his passing, they were actually sued by the sheriff and by all these boys who were in that room, and they lost. So this is the uphill battle that parents face when you move your child